Hello, welcome to Astro weekly transits. And this is a week, and many places celebrate Thanksgiving. And there's going to be like a flurry in the air. We'll see a couple things in just a second. So, anyway, let's just dive right in. Dive right in. I hope my audio is good. I've been messing with it. There's been some upgrades and things, and I know I had a couple iffy ones a few lessons back, a few topics back, but I think it's better. So I can test it ahead of time, but then I can't really tell unless I listen back. So if it's not great, I apologize, and I just want you to know it's being worked on. Alrighty. So I started with yesterday. I just like the date 11/20/23. It's kind of cool. 2020. Um, well, we're at the tail end of Scorpio. I went back yesterday, and you can see the sun. We were talking about this last week, the sun Mars conjunction. The sun is pulled ahead now a little bit. It's faster speed. Let's just go back. We remember seeing this. See, look at they were at 20. Look down here. They were tracking together for a while. All right, it was like Wednesday that the sun was on the other side. See the sun 23, Mars 24, and the sun is a little faster speed. So then now they're totally conjunct, and then they went together the next day. They both shifted to 25, and then both shifted to 26, and then the sun just went ahead. Sunday, you can see it 27, and then they'll both move ahead 27, 28. So you see that we have this energy. We've been tracking with this, intensity of both these real fire, the sun and Mars. So hopefully you've been using this energy to your advantage. It definitely stimulating, edgy, could be combative, but it's like investigative, and it's in that focused area. This is kind of cool because that tail end of Scorpio before we get to the last, the critical degrees. Tomorrow we'll start on 29 degrees, but it's an extreme focus, laser focus. You can really be digging in on something. So this energy's been traveling with us. So interesting things are going to happen. I'm going to just leave these aspect lines on for a moment. I've been playing with them a little bit, trying to get the orbs and everything right. But what I have it at is, you'll see the heavy, anything red is like, so just kind of know that. So we've got red, will either show a square and a half a square, opposition. And then the blue will show nicer aspects. It'll show our trines and sextiles, and then the green will be the weird quincunx at 150 degrees for the most part. All right, so you can see the square, then you can see the square with that little line. It's like, on the bottom here, that's a square and a half, which are all tense. But here we go, starting on Monday. There was some nice aspects. Well, the moon went over Saturn, so could have been coming into Sunday and Monday. That was a little kind of dour, or maybe edgy. Not edgy. It'd be more emotional, sad, hard. Things came up for you, or things may still be coming up. Is that we got the moon and Saturn in Pisces. So that's creating, a little bit of emotional tension. Let's put it that way. I like the emotional tension. Not to be confused with sexual tension, for sure. Okay. So we see Mars and the sun are just about, as they go into happy Sagittarius, which Mercury's already there. So we are already kind of feeling in that little festivity. Our mind has sped up, where, the Mercury's in that fire sign, but it's in its fall. It's fall or detriment. I'm sorry. It's in its detriment. It's like where it likes to be, is in Gemini. And where it doesn't like to be is in Sagittarius. But on another level, some detriments aren't as bad as others. And I think this one is not for Mercury, because it gets to be, seeking, that curious, inquisitive, informative, information-loving sign gets to be like the arrow, gets to go investigate. So it's not it's not like a bad detriment. I think it's a good detriment. I don't know how to say that. But anyway, that's there. And now watch as we move on. Let's get off of this day, yesterday. Sun today is at 29, and Mars is, so it's already passed. We've already had that Kazemi, but it's still in effect. We still have that energy. Now they're going to be marching over toward, into the Sagittarian season. So before we get too much farther, let's see. We have this kind of odd square and a half from Venus over to Saturn. It's bad enough that it's it's already going to have this square from Mars and the Sun, but then it's getting a square and a half from Venus. So there's some little, I would say, niggles. Maybe the best way to put it is like there's a turd in the punch bowl, kind of. It's like, even though there's punch in a party and everything's nice, there's a turd in that. There's other things, but ew. So that's kind of like, just like, oh man, I want to get into this nice Sagittarian season. All right, let's move on a little bit. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave these up. There's a lot of little aspects coming in. You can see, like here, Venus, 15 degrees. It's got a skinny line, says opposition, going over to the north node. It's at 22. So I have it set for it's coming into aspect. So as Venus gets closer to, the 20s degrees, it will be louder. But we're not going to talk about that now, but I just want to mention it. But we do have Mercury getting closer to making a trine to the north node. That's kind of like Santa Claus aspect. All right. Wednesday. Let's see, do I have any other notes here? Let's go back a second. The Sun and the Mars that were also, we go back over here. The Sun and Mars, I didn't have it on here. Well, I didn't talk about it. Are also, the Sun is exactly at a sextile over to Pluto. And, Mars is right there too. So that could be, taking obstacles head on and then pushing through barriers to make progress. So that's kind of what's starting out this week. Maybe pushing through barriers. It's like, nope, that's not going to happen on my watch. I'm sorry. All right. So I want to mention that. And then also, I don't have a lot of the, a lot of the funky stuff. I kind of stick with some of the more of the inner planets, and then I don't do a lot of the asteroids. I just think it gets too confusing. But Chiron, it's what I don't have here, is trining Mercury. I just wanted to say that too, because Mercury is going to start to trine the north node, and then there's Chiron over there. But I wanted to mention that just because, the Chiron is that wounded healer, and then there's Mercury there. So there's communications, maybe conversation, use your words to heal. You might have to express and deal with inner wounds. So being a natural healer, I think that might be a good time, as we come into this week to address those things. All right, a little bit of that. Now tomorrow, getting into Wednesday, we're going to see the Sun going right into Sagittarius. So we get this happy, upbeat energy, but as soon as it goes in there, it squares over to Saturn. It's like, oh, shit. Really? You get all dressed up and everything, and you're out of the house, and you realize that you got a rip in the back of your something, in your pants or your back of your shirt or your dress or something. You're like, oh, man. So you got to kind of, everything else is sort of cool. But Saturn, it's like, just do what it takes. Just listen to it. If somebody's yelling at you and telling you certain things about your behavior, just shut up, shut your ego up, and just listen. It'll get over faster. If you start to argue or put resistance, it's just going to make it worse. So just don't. That's really what that's all about. And then Mars there is going to come up and be more of that, as it's getting closer to that too. But it's going to be a little more aggressive. So this is, to me, like, this is the time to bite your tongue. This is the time not to have verbal epithets or speak harshly or rudely, or sometimes you need to say something, but you got to figure out a way to say it in a nice way. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So just be wary of that, because, squares suck, and Saturn squares suck doubly. And then we got Mars in the mix, and it just could make things really edgy. So don't do it. Just keep the holidays, people, everything nice. It's not worth it. It really isn't. So that's really the big thing of the week. It's like you can stop now, but that's really the big thing. I mean, we've got a few other things, coming in, but that's the big one. Frickin' Sun and Mars squaring Saturn. They go right into nice, happy Sagittarius. Woo! And then all of a sudden, crap. Or you leave the house and then you realize you forgot the gift into the birthday party. You're like, I'm hitting my head on the desk. Something like that. Okay. I think I made my point. We already talked about, you see, Mercury's, that trine is getting closer. It's applying, it's getting close to the North Node. So this is nice though, so this could be a nice overriding diplomacy aspect a little bit kind of going on. I'm trying to be optimistic, All right. And then we've also got it getting closer to being a square with Neptune. So that could be, confusing, or be careful not to overcommit or to say something like, oh yeah, sure. Oh crap. Why did I say that? Why did I commit? Careful with that, because we come into Neptune, as it gets closer, it's just going to add confusion into the mix. All right, Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Well, the moon is going to be right by, shoot figures. The moon is going to be right over by Chiron. I didn't have it there. But anyway, the moon will be conjunct Chiron, and then all of those will be opposite Venus. So more healing of old wounds. That's what I want to say. More healing of old wounds. See, it's kind of went from one to the other. So taking inventory of what you no longer need or no longer need to pay attention to. Things that you can let go of. Great time for cleaning and getting rid of crap. And nurture yourself too. Don't be too hard on yourself with anything. It's good to purge, things you don't need, and internally. Good time for cleansing as well. And you can focus on how cool you are. You really, everybody, you've got your good points. So not to be narcissistic or egocentric, but just the ability that you can bite your tongue, the ability that you can let that roll off your back, whatever, is to be commendable. And you go, yeah, I'm pretty cool. You just got to say that, and then just do those things that keep making you cool. But look at this day. I wanted to keep these aspects on. I wanted to mention that one, get it out of the way. But look at, and then we already talked about Mars. It's getting close to that. We'll come back. But look at Mercury with all of these aspects. Okay, so it's getting close to a square to Neptune. So there's that fogginess, that all that murky, the second guessing, also second guessing yourself, second guessing things, wondering if what they said was really true. That's all that Neptune's crap. But then we have a nice trines the moon. Moon makes really nice trines to Mercury, and then Mercury's getting a little closer to the North Node, and then the moon's going to go over the North Node. How nice. This is really nice. This is a good family day. This is a good time, to just be in that family spirit. But, don't get dour and down with the Saturn. It's just, pay attention to details. If somebody asked you about something, do it. If you borrowed something, put it back. You borrowed something and, put it back or make it better. We tend to just not do that crap. So that's the little stuff that's going to trip you up with the Saturn square. So if you just be mindful to that, it'll all be flowing. But more nice stuff cool with Mercury. Use this opportunity to to merge the moon in Mercury. They're both in fire signs, so it could easily be hot-headed and spirited and nasty words or brazen, but it could be excitable and fun. And use those words to boost people up, to say encouraging things, encouraging words. And going over the North Node, you'll feel nicer about it. So it's just a nice place and space that will bring that on. And then then Mercury's also got a square and a half to Jupiter, so it's maybe a little bit of a check on bloviating, on uh, being a little bit stuck, um, not saying that compliment. I mean, don't say something that's not true. But if there's something to admire, to compliment, say it. Otherwise, bite your tongue again. And then we got, see, it's funny. It kind of goes, we got some good ones and we got some kind of bad ones in the mix. Mercury's busy that day, which it likes to do, innocent Sag. But that could also make for a lot of frank statements. If somebody says something very frank and awkward to you, that's where you got to kind of let it roll off or have a nice pat answer. It doesn't mean you got to be a wuss or a wimp or something, but it's like, just, you don't have to take the crap either, you put it that way. So it's also making a quincunx over to Uranus. So there's where we might have something out of the blue. And if it's got Sagittarius involved, really be careful. That's where the little kid will go, oh, why is Aunt Jan have a wart on her nose? It's like, oh God, why'd you say that? It's being funny. But it's just going to be like a frank, awkward, out of the blue kind of statement. So just be prepared. And most things people forget, it's like if you don't make a big deal about it, it won't be a big deal. If you make a big deal about it, it'll be a big deal. So you got a mixed bag in it. And that's Thursday, the family day. And then we also have, well, I just should have showed it here. Anyway, Neptune making a sextile, because it'll be, let's see, 1-2 signs away. It's getting, closer to Pluto. So, that's an outer planet aspect that's slower. It's just, I just wanted to mention it because it's just starting to come into orb. So just to throw it out there, because we'll see that later as it goes, further in that sign, but it's still there. All right. What else do I want to share here? There's a lot on that day. It's pretty good. But we see the sun, has now made it into Sagittarius, which feels good. But then Mars is right at the anorectic degree, that critical degree of that 29 Scorpio. So there's just maybe a little bit of a hangnail. This days can be a mixed bag. It could be great and it could be awful. And look at the moon will oppose Venus as well. It's 1 degree off right here. That's coming and going, but it's still, it's like you have to maybe pay attention, be on your toes. It's going to be a good day, but it's going to be kind of a mixed bag. All right. What else? We're going to talk about letting go of stuff. Yeah. All right. Now Mars here moves into Sag on Friday. So I'm going to use the surge of energy and enthusiasm. Now the sun has passed the square to Saturn, so we're in better shape with the sun. But then now Mars has to go, pay the what would we say? Mars has got to go give its dues, put it that way. But it's still fire energy, and now Mars is at least in a sister sign. It was all wet and clammy. Now it's got some airflow and wind in its hair and feels good. So I like that. Focus is fire energy on doing, physical things, adventures, pursue new things. We've got the great, it's like Mars starting into Sagittarius. Oh my gosh, the shiny object syndrome, the grass is greener, the ideas, it's better over there. But having a nice, I think, check with Saturn at first. It's like, okay, boss. Anything you want to tell me or anything I need to know before I'm ready to go? Did you check my tailpipes and did you check my muffler? Did everything good? Because I'm gonna like zoom out of here. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, okay, I'll go over and do that. Okay, anything else? Old wise Saturn, anything else, sir? Am I free to go? Thank you very much. And then he's off, done. The next day, Saturday, boom, we're done. So that's kind of cool. So just check in with Saturn, I say, on that level. Just kind of check in. Make sure that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's and then your responsibilities. Don't just get off without doing the things that you said you've done, or that how you can help out, basically. All right, everything else we kind of talked about, it's just kind of getting a little stronger. Venus is kind of in a tense place. It's opposite, getting opposite to the North Node. Well, a little bit of a mix of maybe over enthusiasm, I say, or others, or dragging others through something. And then it's got that 150-degree angle, that quincunx, as the moon moves into Taurus there, or I mean the middle part of Taurus, and checks in over there. So, she's not going to be totally happy. She likes being here, Venus, in her, masculine home sign. But maybe maybe Venus got a little fat and she can't quite fit into that outfit anymore. She's a little irritated, but it still looks good on her. That kind of a thing. Because you got an opposition in a 150 in a quincunx, the moon. So feelings, and then North Node, maybe something, you're striving for. Maybe you're not quite there. Maybe you got to, do a few more polishing, a few more finishing touches on something before it's totally what you desire, or something is totally ready. It's not quite there. It's going under a little refinement, and that'll change. All right, Sunday. One other thing I was thinking, the moon. The moon going over. I was going to go back. Let me go back a second. The moon just going over Jupiter. Sometimes this can be just like it's an emotional expansion moon, right? So it's like into that day, early part of the day, Saturday. This is East Coast, but you can adjust your time. Well, emotional expansion, being careful not to dramatize or make things bigger than they really are. Don't make mountains out of molehills. Jupiter expands and moon's emotions, so we can have the drama queen kind of day. So just watch that, okay? And then the moon's going to go over Uranus later, so we got emotional drama and over committing or blowing something up, and then we got something out of the blue coming. So just kind of watch that. All right, Sunday. Well, Mars now we've got Mars square, coming into, I have that into Jupiter. I'm sorry, opposition. Coming into, why did I write that? So you can see we've got, why did I write that? No, I'm not, I'm sorry. There it is, yeah. No, what did I do? I don't know why I wrote that. Oh God. So anyway, Mars, we just finished going over Saturn. I mean, making our square to Saturn. These things in the middle bug me. I'm gonna get them off there for a second. There we go. All right. It gets too busy sometimes. So we've seen a lot of red stuff though. So we've got a lot of tense things happening. We've got Saturn still hanging out here. It's just starting to pick up speed, but anything going at that 0 degree, anything 0 degree at your chart, it could be, if it's in a water sign, it could be in much better favor. If you have something in Virgo there at 0 degrees Virgo, it's going to be opposing that. Or, we have like the 0 degrees Sag, or the 0 degrees, its own sign, Gemini. What am I saying? So when the moon comes over here, I don't want to do I want to do a little bit of time. Let's do hours. There we go. So we see the moon here now. We've got moon square Saturn, square Mars. So it's kind of like a T-square. So this, Sunday can be just a little bit tense. Put this back. Sunday can be just a little bit tense here because we have this odd angle here. We've got this. Here's our opposition with Mars to the moon. Moon's going to go kind of feelings and thwart this energy, because then as the moon moves on, it's going to have that same, let me keep this here, same energy with the sun, that same opposition. There we go. Moon is 2. You see, most of the day, Monday, so it's starting early in the morning on the East Coast. So let's see, probably in England and over there, you'll be just starting into that. So more going west won't probably encounter it as bad, because we can see here now the moon, as we get early in the morning, it will be there. I want to get it over by the sun. There, it'll then be opposing the sun, and that's at 4 in the morning East Coast. So it's already like, or I mean Central. I have that set for Cambridge. I don't know why I change that. Anyway, as the sun is just starting the day over here, it's kind of gone. I mean the moon, it's just opposed the sun. I mean Mars and the sun. So I don't know, it could rule a restless sleep, but this will affect into the day as well. So it could be a little kind of a interesting day, maybe a little scattered, from the whole weekend. But then we have, the moon in a busy mental sign. It wants to be in a nice sign, which it's coming. It's going to be in its own sign in a couple days here, but it doesn't help out Monday. And then just opposing this whole crew down here. So we got this fire and, all this energy, and then we got the moon, hanging out, but it's going to, add to the mix. All right. That's kind of an interesting day. Could be confusing, a lot of stuff in the mix. And is there anything else I want to tell you about this day? Everything else we pretty much talked about. And then we'll just come back into Tuesday next week. Moon will still be in Gemini. Nothing else has really changed a whole lot. We've talked about it, but we've got the big stuff down with Mars and the sun, and it's as it goes into nice Sag, things should start picking up here after it makes its little squares over to Saturn. But that's the big thing. Those are the big ones, remember. And we already talked about, the kind of the push-pull on Thanksgiving, and that's it. And then we're kind of back to, we get over this holiday crew. But the nice bit about it is that we've got this nice Sagittarian energy. Those planets got their stuff out of the way, kind of right away. But then, then it gets on into that nice Sagittarian, expansive, jovial holiday mood. So, spread cheer, spread love. That's going to help heal the planet. All right. Thanks for listening, and hope everybody has a great holiday, and see you all next week. Bye for now.